Hello, everyone. It's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel, tap that notification bell, and like this video. That helps me to keep making videos, and I would appreciate it majorly. So, there's the story about Giuliani that he was going to go to the Ukraine to get the incoming president, who's actually a former comedian who won. But he's going to be the new president of Ukraine, to get him to reopen an investigation that was looking into a company that Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, I believe, was a board member on, and there was some kind of dealings they were looking into previously, years ago. He decided not to do that, and he came under a fair amount of scrutiny and reporting in the press that was way, that there was just so many conflicts there. He's basically going there to meddle in an election, or ask the Ukrainians to meddle in an election, as well as, there's just so many conflicts. You have an incoming president of Ukraine that Ukraine depends pretty heavily on the United States for a variety of things, military assistance and so on. That would mean they depend on Trump. So, the decisions they make would be influenced by that and so forth. It doesn't really matter. I'm not necessarily, I don't really care too much about that. But it just brings up because it sounds fairly similar to what I've suggested about Hillary and Trump. And I've been all over the place on this. If you follow my channel, I don't even get a ton of views on this, but I believe this pretty deeply. And I think one day, I do. I think some people, you're going to maybe say, man, that was pretty smart. That sounds so lame. But it's right here, man. It's right here. I'm telling you right now, no matter what happens, come 2020, Joe Biden is going to do so much better than this. So much better that, because these numbers are impossible unless somebody intentionally did that. Hillary's numbers, she lost so badly that it's just impossible that could have happened without her wanting it to happen that way. So, their election, there were two hot focal points: London and Ukraine. And both campaigns had people involved in both locations. It's so peculiar, and it's too complicated. There's like 1,000 different things going on at once, and I believe that's by design, so that you just never figure it out. But even in Ukraine, it wasn't just Paul Manafort. There was the other attorney who was charged by Mueller for lying to officials. Greg Craig, one of the two. Actually, I think it's Greg Craig, who was the former White House counsel to the Obama administration. But before that, he was White House counsel to the Clinton administration, and he was actually one of Bill Clinton's lead attorneys during this, when they had the independent counsel, Kenneth Starr, looking into Whitewater, which eventually led to, the whole Monica Lewinsky scandal. But he would, Bill Clinton had turned that individual, that attorney. He's a Clinton associate, a longtime Clinton associate, very close to the Clintons. He had turned him as the quarterback during that time, during the special independent counsel investigation. It used to be an independent counsel. They now changed it to special counsel because the independent counsel, Kenneth Starr, that investigation by law was wasn't overseen by anybody. So they changed it from independent, and they changed the law so that it would be called a special counsel, which would have some limits and would be basically overseen by somebody within the Justice Department, basically the Attorney General. But it became the Deputy Attorney General because Sessions recused himself. Anyways, but he was indicted by Mueller, and he had very, I don't know when, early in 2014, something like that. Manafort had asked him, when Manafort was doing work for the Ukrainians, Yanukovych, and making lots of money and being paid large sums of money for lobbying efforts he was doing for that former government that was very friendly to Russia. Manafort had asked him to do something, to write some op-ed piece or something like that would basically bolster some of the things he was doing on behalf of Yanukovych, and so that guy got wrapped up into it. But that's another dude who's tied to Ukraine. But that dude's not with the Trump campaign. He's with he's a Clinton associate. There was David Kramer, who was basically who was given the Steele dossier by Christopher Steele, who then gave it to John McCain, who then gave it to the FBI and leaked it to all the the press outlets. Kramer claimed that Steele told him to do that. Steele denies that. That's not real important. But David Kramer, a longtime associate of John McCain, also had ties to Ukraine. That was part of his, he had diplomatic, he had worked in Ukraine as a diplomat or something like that. That was part of his, expertise as a political advisor in some respect. And now he works on some kind of think tank that's I think somehow associated with McCain, or McCain and him knew each other through that think tank. Whatever. Just saying, there's another individual who is tied to Ukraine, who's not part of the Trump campaign and seemingly was opposed to the Trump campaign because he was given the Steele dossier that he then gave to McCain that ended up at the FBI. Doesn't matter. It's a big mess. I understand that. And I'm not necessarily making a very good point here. My point is this. She lost on purpose. And in 2020, you're going to see that either Joe Biden is either going to win, which would be phenomenal. I mean, like incredible, because the economy is amazing right now. Trump is so strong, and yet Biden seems to be actually a real threat. Trump is an incumbent, and he's going to end up, this election is going to be close. Trump was not the incumbent, and he absolutely annihilated Hillary Clinton. Right now, I'm telling you right now, Michigan is gone if Biden's the nominee. But Michigan is already gone. Already. Probably Pennsylvania too. Probably Wisconsin and Iowa as well. 4 states right out of the chute, gone just because it's Biden. But with Hillary, that wasn't the case. Why is that? Because she lost on purpose, in my opinion. But if you go to, the way the Trump campaign, I'm not even talking so much about the Giuliani story, but it's just sort of a way of shoehorning into what I'm saying here. If you look at how they're approaching this campaign versus how they approached the Hillary campaign, they didn't attack Hillary until she won the nominee. They wanted her to be the nominee. The Trump people did. And why is that? How is it? Right now they're attacking Biden before the primary's over. They don't want Biden. Biden's the establishment candidate, just like Hillary was. All right. You could almost make the case that that they were more afraid of Bernie and that they wanted Hillary because Bernie might have been a threat. But if that's the case, they're not treating this election that way. They see Biden as a threat, and Bernie as not a threat. They're not worried. They're not saying anything about him. They're going directly at Biden now. But they didn't do that with Hillary until she secured it. Somehow they knew. When everybody else had no idea, everybody else thought Hillary was going to win the election. Somehow they knew she was going to lose. Somehow the Trump people, somehow WikiLeaks knew that she was going to lose. I've covered this in a previous video where they had Podesta's emails from May, all right, from May 2016. That's early in the primary. The primaries progressed. Iowa's over. I think Super Tuesday was over because Super Tuesday is the 15th of May, I believe. I may have my dates messed up. But they had the Donna Brazil emails to Podesta saying she has questions in advance, of a town hall that Bernie and Hillary would be participating in. And they had those early on because they only had Podesta's emails up to late March. The third month, not May, March. And that goes to the previous dates I was just mentioning. But they had those emails at that time because they only had Podesta's emails up to late March of 2016, and they don't have anything further beyond that. Which stands to reason that he basically had changed his password, whatever, but they lost access. But that means they had it in real time in the month of March 2016. But they didn't use that information to kneecap Hillary and help Bernie. Okay, somehow they knew Hillary was the better person to run against because they knew she was going to lose. But they're not doing that now. They're going right at Biden before the primary is even over. Even started. And it's complete flip-flop from before. And yet Biden and Hillary are both the same type of establishment candidate. You're going to see, man. These numbers, this is Obama over here. This is Hillary over here. This is from 2012. This is 2016. It just shows you how astronomically poorly she did relative to what Obama achieved in states that are very, white states, man. Rust Belt states. I understand that Trump appeals to the Rust Belt, but, Michigan's gone, believe me. That's Biden's already. Right now. Probably Pennsylvania too, and Wisconsin and Iowa, like I said. Other reasons I just stated and other things. There's other things at play here, and I do have other ideas. I do. I'm just reluctant to bring them up because they're so, they're just so sort of high-charged claims that, if you look at, if you look at Florida, somehow Trump did amazing in Florida. He basically found 750,000 votes. It's almost impossible. It's almost mathematically impossible. When Trump found when Bush found 150,000 votes in Ohio, people were shocked at that. Okay, and he won Ohio in the second in his re-election bid against Kerry. And somehow Karl Rove did manage to find 150,000 votes. The Democrats didn't even know he had. This is the Bush. I'm just using that as a point that 150,000, they were amazed. Trump found basically 750,000 votes in Florida that, from nowhere. Hillary actually outperformed Obama by about 300,000 votes. The way she did that, without trying that hard at all. That's the only state she did. And it's just ironic that that's also in a state that seems to be very heavily controlled by Trump. It seems fairly corrupt. That's also the only state where Russians actually hacked into systems, and actually may have gotten data and could have been able to influence the votes. Whether they did or didn't, I don't really care. That's not my point. But she got 300,000 votes from basically Romney voters or, Romney Republicans that refused to vote for Trump. I'm sure there's some Hispanic increase there as well. But that's what it is. That's kind of what this California vote is part of, too. I don't want to go into it right now. But what I'm saying is that Trump, in addition to finding, because Romney had about 4.2 million in the 2012 campaign. Trump had 4.6 million, so he had 400,000 votes, more than Romney. But he also had to make up for votes where there were Romney voters that moved over to Hillary, about 300,000 votes. And it basically equates to about 750,000 votes that Trump found out of nowhere. And, I think I know where. I do. I'm not going to say right now. It's not. I would say it. Just I just don't know. So, but I do think, and I think it's a group that people just think doesn't really exist anymore, but it does, and it's quite powerful in politics, and sometimes helps select presidents. And I think they did in this case. Help. I didn't really. This is just a mess of a video, but I'll probably gonna keep it because these things. I'm telling you, man, Biden is gonna blow these numbers out. A 76-year-old man running against an incumbent with an economy that's doing amazing. Trump's doing a ton. Trump. I voted for Trump. I think he's doing a really good job on a lot. Really good on a lot of things. Okay. You'll see though. You'll see. Biden's gaining strength, and you can just see his confidence level already starting to grow. He came out, shaky, and sometimes he screws up his words, But he's hilarious, man. He is. Even when he says ridiculous things, they're funny. That's a good thing. That's that people like that. I like it. It's funny. Trump's funny. That's why people like him. You're gonna see. I'm right about this, man. That's what I believe. And that's the story there, man. All right, thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe. By the way, Giuliani is backed out, and he's not going to Ukraine now to try to do that, and says that it was a setup and he was being set up or some goofy explanation for it. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. I'll see you in the next video. Later, man.